guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline, Sheriff Steve Prator, Caddo Parish Sheriff Steve Prator. Welcome back to Keel, sir. Good morning.
Well, thank you. Good morning to you.
Taking a little breather from this coronavirus to talk about Peace Officer Memorial Day, which is today. And it's a day we need to pause to remember so many in your profession who are willing to and who have given their lives to keep us safe. Usually you have a big ceremony down there next to the aquarium where the Peace Officer Memorial is. What's going to happen today, Sheriff?
Well, we're not going to be able to get together today, but we have all the leaders of local law enforcement got together, and we did a little tribute, filmed a little tribute that's going to be on the Facebook pages and distributed to the media. And it's just to let the families know and the coworkers and the friends know that we certainly, the community and certainly the leaders and the folks involved in as first responders have not forgotten those that are no longer with us, that someone deliberately took their life. And it's really a sad time, but it's a necessary thing for us to do, is to continue to remember.
I want to tell people, because I've been down there several times, and people don't know it's there, I bet. It is that circle area right next to the aquarium. Is that the best way to describe where this this is?
Yeah,
that's right. It's the old, right by the old Barnwell Center, the aquarium, and it's a very, very nice thing that the Lions Club put together for us, Summer Grove Lions Club, and the Rotary Club put together for us. And it's got each officer that's died in the line of duty. It's got their names all the way back to the 1800s. And people need to go down there and just walk around and look at that, look at all the stones down there, and to realize that they weren't just people that put on a uniform and were going out there trying to make your life miserable. These are people that are protecting you. These are people that are put the uniform on and say, hey, I might get shot today. I might get killed today, but I'm willing to do it to protect the lives of those here in the United States and in our community. So it's such a necessary thing. Go down there and walk around and realize how solemn it is.
Absolutely.
These are kids. They had parents that are still weeping for them. They had kids that grew up without parents because of someone else. And it's people need to take a moment and realize that.
Pardon me, Steve, just a second ago when you were describing, when you tell Steve because when he was talking a moment or two ago about the fact that these men and women risk their lives every day, you literally shuddered.
I got goosebumps.
Why?
And Steve, we don't think about you guys like that anymore. We don't think about you guys getting up and putting on your boots and strapping on your gun.
And putting on that vest.
And leaving your wife or your husband or your children and looking them in the eye and thinking to yourself, I pray this is not the last day I see these loved ones. You guys have to do that every day, and I can't even wrap my brain around it. That's just part of what you do, huh?
It's part of what it's a big part of what you do, and you have to think about all the wives and the husbands and the kids that every day they see their loved one put on a uniform and a ballistic vest and all the equipment we need. Such as the other night, less than 3 weeks ago, when we had a fella that had killed his girlfriend, and then we spend the entire night, different agencies out there, we spend the entire night tromping through the woods with snakes and mosquitoes and somebody out there with a gun that we can't see, and we're walking around with lights and dogs and helicopters and trying to find this person and flush them out of the woods so they don't hurt somebody else. And then he ends up shooting at a deputy and then shooting at the state police and a deputy again. People don't realize that. They don't realize how hard it is. I wish they could walk in my shoes sometime. I've buried 10 officers from departments the 2 departments I've been with. 10 of my friends, I've had to actually be at their funerals, speak at a number of them because I was either the chief of police or the sheriff. I've had to actually go and tell a 7-year-old son his mother was killed in the line of duty. these things, these are real. It's real, and people need to understand that. And I think most people do. We're so appreciative of all of the nice things that are being done for us now, and quite often. So there are a bunch of people that realize it, but there's also a bunch of people that still look at us like the bad guys.
You're adding, Shateri Payne's name has been added this year, correct?
Right, that is correct. This year that's been added, and her name has been added, and it's just, I don't know. I just sometimes the way that some of the liberal media treat the police as the bad guys and the bad guys as the victims. Some of the ways that we don't take violent crime seriously, as far as we don't do anything about it. We spend a lot more money studying how we can rehabilitate somebody, which is important. Mm-hmm. Studying how we can let people out of jail, which is also important. But spend that amount of money also trying to see how we can prevent violent crime by treating violent criminals just like they are.
Yeah.
They're violent criminals, and they need to be dealt with, and that's just another aspect of the frustrations. But the main thing that we do today is to remember those that somebody just said, okay, I think I'm just going to shoot a policeman. And
11,
they don't look
11
at
o'clock.
him as,
11 o'clock today, you're asking folks to at least have a moment of silence to remember them, correct?
That's correct. And that's really, that's not asking too much. If you're a parent and you've got little ones or something around it, make it a point to emphasize this. It's just as much of a sacrifice as somebody that goes to Iraq or that died in World War II or that died in the Korean War or Vietnam. It's just as big a sacrifice as that, except they were here fighting on the home front. Mm-hmm. And it needs to be held in the same reverence as
Absolutely.
that.
Sheriff Steve Prator, thanks to all the law enforcement officers for what you do. Thanks for your time,
Thank you, Mr.
sir.
Steve. Great stuff as always, sir.
All right.
Our pleasure.
Thanks.